Welcome to Millennials on the Move Zoom edition. I'm super excited because I get to interview my brother. And he's amazing, and we're going to get into that. But this gives us an opportunity to still give inspiration in a time of need. COVID-19 is going on right now. This pandemic is taking lives, but it's also making us realize what's important and connecting with each other and hearing those stories so we can still know to keep moving forward, because that is the goal. So, David, tell us a little bit about yourself, not too much about the business, kind of like what you've been doing these days.
So originally I'm from Houston, Texas, born in Beaumont. Originally I'm from Houston, Texas. I was born in Beaumont. Moved to Houston, like the suburbs, probably when I was like around 5 or 6. Went to Morehouse College in Atlanta. Yeah, well, I met your brother. Been best friends ever since. And, when I graduated college, I worked for the Houston Texans for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. After that, I transitioned to education, got my master's, and from Prairie View, I'm currently wrapping up my dissertation at Prairie View A&M as well. So, yes, currently a professor at Hampton University, and so that's me in a nutshell.
Turn up! Do y'all hear that greatness? All that whole spiel was in like less than a minute. That was amazing.
Practice an elevator pitch.
Yes, elevator pitch. Come on. Okay, cool. So, like he said, he met my brother at Morehouse. Met David their freshman year. What was that, 2008? 7?
Well, we started in 07. Spring 08 was when we came down to go to Spring Blend.
Yes. So I met David in 08, and literally him and John have been like attached to the hip, brothers from another. The bromance is real. So David is very much so in our family, but David is doing amazing things, as you can hear. I'm going to read a little bit about kind of what he's been doing, set aside from, furthering his education, getting all these degrees. He is also the founder of GiveBlack app. We're going to get into that, but GiveBlack, I'm going to let your wheels spin on that. GiveBlack app. It's an app that you need to download, by the way. Also, he's the author of a children's book, and he does have a child. Look how that works. Look how that works. He has also he's also an alpha, and he's a part of the 100 Black Men. So, David, I feel like you're the all-around role model, hero, just activist, philanthropist. Like, I feel like you're everything just molded into one. How do you balance all of these hats that you have?
I'm very passionate about it. So when you have a heart for service or helping out your community, it's just things you would do. It's things you would do regardless of whether you're getting an award, recognition, or praise. It's just something you would do. And right. One of the things I actually model to help out people is I always received help. So like your family, specifically your brother, your mother, your aunt,
right?
Just about everybody in your immediate family has helped me one way or another. Never really asked me for anything. So that's one of the reasons I like to do what I do. Is just a way to pay it forward.
Right. So I really appreciate how you managed to be so humble. Like, you have done a lot of great things, and you've been a lot of great places. You've met a lot of great people. Obviously, mentors along the way, and my family has helped you as well as you helped us, because you gave us another brother. Thank you. But I think what's tremendous about all of this is the fact that you decided to take that service attitude and literally put it into action, and that's how you founded, GiveBlack. So let's give the people the opportunity to understand what GiveBlack means. So tell us what GiveBlack, why did you even come up with the name, and also what the app does.
So with GiveBlack, we actually started working. I had an idea for an app. And so I talked to your brother. Yep. And he was like, well, my aunt has a company where they develop apps. So right. Talked to Fran. She put us on a payment plan, basically. Apps can be very, very expensive.
Right.
She didn't give me a family discount, but she gave me a continuance, as you could say. I don't think she normally do that, so I always
right. She doesn't.
So it actually took us 3 years to develop the app. And so probably like a year and a half into it, I was approached by one of my Spelman sisters to give money to a nonprofit that she was working with called Girls Going Global. And I thought, I'm like, well, it would be much easier if there was like an app for Black nonprofits, businesses, churches, HBCUs, or other organizations that help the Black community, if we could just have an app. So I talked to the team. I said, hey, I think we should switch directions. What do y'all think? And they said, yeah. So we just thought about the name. And I was like, hey, what about Getting Black? It's almost like Getting Back. But our community, we have we'll give money to the churches, everybody else except the people who help us the most. And as being as a professor, I know about like a lot of programs that other people might necessarily not know about. So for example, I know programs where you can get free SAT, ACT tutors.
Right.
Programs that help people figure out whether, like if you want to be a veterinarian, an engineer, broker, trader, and all these different things. And there's always community organizations, programs that need funding that could do better work, but we just choose to fund them or we don't know about them. So we created the app. The first thing we want to do is make people aware of services that are in the community that they might not know about. And then second of all, once you know about the services, you need to fund them so they can continue doing the work. Right.
I think it's such a inspiration to know that Black people do give, and I think we're like one of the, and then if you think about it, like even like homeless people. So there's been studies shown that Black people give more to people who are homeless. And I think that comes from our empathic spirits. This is just the way that we're built, to be honest. But did you get any backlash? Because there is a negative to the Black community that we don't support other Black businesses or other Black nonprofits as much as we do other. So did you get any pushback like, I don't think this is a good idea, they're not going to really get on board for this because it is Black owned?
There's a famous Morehouse graduate. He's a sociologist named Dr. Amos Wilson. He said the biggest boycott has been Black people against Black businesses.
Right.
He's been on record saying that. But no, actually there was Black people in prominent organizations who told me to make it multicultural. Don't just limit yourself to Black people. They're not going to support. And I just find it interesting is like anytime you try to do something specifically for Black people, whether it's, on the continent of Africa, here, Brazil, the Caribbean, it's always, well, don't do it because nobody was going to support it. Okay, well, if I do the multicultural thing and nobody supports it, is that okay? So I'm like, there's nothing wrong with having something just for us. Like, it's okay.
Right.
So you're not on the board, you're not losing any money. So if nobody invested in it, what's it to you? Right. But yeah, so there's definitely been some people who they love the idea, they just don't want to embrace it because it's, it's Give Black. It's not give anything else, it's Give Black.
Right. And I think we're the ones that struggle the most with any nonprofit, even small businesses. You know what I'm saying? Like to get a loan from a bank, it's like pulling teeth. And then some. And so that's why they have to reach into their own pockets. And I know a lot of nonprofits that just became 501(c)(3)s, they have to literally reach into their own pockets and fund everything because the grant writers are not just for their idea and they don't know grant writers. Like it's just so many different things that go into Black people really just trying to take initiative and make themselves like a staple in their community. And it's almost impossible to do that because we refuse to continue the narrative of not supporting each other. That's going to be a whole nother conversation, so I'm not going to get into that because we can go all day.
Let me tell you. So one of the researchers, one of the data points that we used was Philadelphia African American Leadership Forum. It's like acronym is PALF. But basically, they broke it down that when compared to white-led nonprofits, African American nonprofits are more likely to serve underchallenged groups, which goes back to empathy. We can relate. We've also have lesser staff, lesser volunteers, have fewer cash reserve, and we depend more so on government grants. But
Right.
realize until we get us in a position of being a registered grant reviewer, people don't necessarily want to fund the work that will help.
Right.
That they intentionally sabotage. That's essentially what it is. Also, 33% have four or more less months of cash reserve on hand with Black nonprofits. Meaning, we need to support those that are doing the work. There's a lot of Black mentoring programs in
Right.
Black girls who code, Black boys who code, but we're just not as philanthropic as of yet.
Right.
Go and donate to Big Brothers Big Sister, United Way, which are all great programs, but when it comes to the people who look like us actually in the community on a smaller scale, for whatever reason, we haven't got there yet. But that's where the app comes in, so hopefully.
Boom. Which leads me to my next question. So what would you like to see GiveBlack do?
Multiple things. So first, we want to make people aware of services, and those services can ultimately help people. So if you have like a math group where you help people tutor in math, English, whatever, we would like to see you continue to do the work wherever you're at, and just increase the work that you've been able to do. So once people know about the services, we want people to use the services and then fund it to increase more jobs, better stability, and impact economically on our community. So also we want to make it a lifestyle, not just like a thing. Like we have Give Tuesday, we have a time of the year we want to give, but we want to make Giving Black like a lifestyle, merchandise as well as the app. So we want to make it normalized just to give Black organizations who are doing the right thing, give them some funds so they can continue to do the work.
Right. So if anyone were to own an organization or a nonprofit or a business or anything like that, can they reach out to you and say, hey, I would like to be a part of your app? Is there an application that they have to fill out to be a part of GiveBlack?
It's not necessarily an application. It's a short form. Once you download the app, which is free to download on iPhone, iOS, and Google Play, you'll register either as a donor or as a business. Register as a business, it'll come to the form. Once the form is correct, you'll receive an email from me indicating the next steps, and that's it.
Oh, that is very simple. One thing that speaks to me about Giving Black is I think we just can't give up on the idea that we can actually be the it's such a hard word. Philanthropist. Jeez, it's such a tongue twister. We can be the community that gives effortlessly and flawlessly throughout every single aspect of giving, service, community, because that's what we represent. And so apps like this give me hope and inspiration and courage to put my app on there. And then also I know a lot of people who have nonprofits and businesses and things like that. But I think the resources is so important because it's connecting everyone to a service. And if you really need a math tutor or if you really need a mentoring program or anything like that, then that's in one-stop shop. But, I want us to get to a point where you're like, you know what? I'm not losing anything for supporting this, right? I'm not losing anything. So if it fails, it fails. If it succeeds, I was a part of that. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's almost like a win-win situation. And it's like, if we keep thinking, oh, Black people don't give, oh, Black people don't support Black people, then we won't. And we will continue not to. So I think this Giving Black app is going to be kind of like the next wave to everyone just understanding, listen, we have to start somewhere. And we've been trying to start. I think it's like a start, stop situation with us. Once we see headway, then it's like, that trust starts to dwindle again. So what is GiveBlack doing to instill the trust in the people who come to the app, all the customers, all the people who are looking for the services?
So one thing is like where everybody who's on board, you see our faces, you see what we do, during the day outside of being
Right.
tech entrepreneurs. So it's not like we can scam the community and go somewhere. Like we're very easily accessible.
Right.
That's the first start. Like when you go to like some of our competitors, like let's just use Text to Give. You don't know who runs Text to Give. You're not gonna see their bio. You didn't go to school with the like you can't find it. You're not gonna be able to email them.
Right.
So
Right.
we're accessible and we're actually in the community. And then number two, we don't do any of the things. So I say like we use a third party processor that handles everybody's money. So I know how we are with the money. All it takes is for $1 to come up missing, and then it's over with.
It's a scam, right?
Yeah. So we don't hold anybody's money. Then actually, now think about it. We went through a really rough process with Apple. So when we got the app approved, we were beta testing it. Android went through not a problem. Apple was giving us a hard time.
Really?
Because Apple vets everything. Well, they both vet everything that comes on their server. That comes on the server because it's a representation of them.
Right.
But for like GiveBlack, like why? It was a struggle to even have. And I have an iPhone. And I was very, very disappointed in some of the responses. So it took about maybe a month and a half to 2 months to finally get
what
app on Apple's server.
So I was going to ask you, what is the challenge that you faced so far with GiveBlack? And that was one of them. Is there any other challenges that you faced?
Oh yeah, getting it on Apple server. Also, dealing with because we reach out to some politicians. Everybody's running for office, so we are a platform. So a lot of people I ask, can you help me run my marketing for it? Can you make sure we get certain donations? I say that's not our mission. We are a third party process. So basically, we're just a platform. So
exactly.
Just like Text to Give, I understand. You can see my bio and you can see our different expertise, but I can't run your marketing for your organization to make sure you get donations. We're just a platform, so we're third party platform, a one-stop shop. Like if I was to stop and do it for all my clients, I wouldn't be able to do my work. So I would say maybe some unrealistic expectations that come along with the app. So, well, you did this, and you have this. So why don't you just help me do this? It's like, I love you, but no.
That's not what this is for. No.
Yeah, I love you, but no. I can maybe put you in contact with somebody who can use, for the services, like to pay them to help you market it, but I can't do your marketing for you.
Oh, okay. So your team, who is your team comprised of? Like, was it friends from school? Did you find these people? Yeah.
Everybody I met from school except for one person. So the co-founders are myself, your aunt, friend, and my friend Alexis. So Alexis and I went to Prairie View together. So we actually worked in the same enrollment management department there. Then I have Terrell, who was at Prairie View for a minute, ended up going to A&T, and now he's at UNT in Dallas. Okay. And Sean, who I met at Prairie View. Jermaine, who I met at Hampton. And Natasha, who runs the HBCU podcast. She does our social media. So everybody I met in work, so I kind of know how they work, the work ethic, and what they bring to the table. So Fran, Alexis, and myself founded the app, and then we brought people on board to help us with the day-to-day operations and to get the name out there.
All right, cool. So do you like your team?
Hello. Do they
love your team? So teamwork makes the dream work. So it seems like everyone has a common goal, and this is why GiveBlack is actually being so prosperous, because everybody knows that this is bigger than us, right? So everybody is choosing to do this work because they want to be there, which I think is very just a relief, I think, at the end of the day, because you didn't have to pull teeth to get these people to be on your team. I'm pretty sure you pitched it, they was like, yep, I'm in, because that's what we're about. And it sounds like a lot of them went to HBCUs, if not all of them went to HBCUs, right?
All of them except for Jermaine,
right,
and your aunt. Mm-hmm.
Right. So we understand what the Black experience is, and we get Black community. It was drilled. If you went to HBCU, it was drilled in your head to always remain true to you, and putting the Black community first, because it is the most deprived community that we do have in America. I'm not sure. I'm just going to speak for America. But for the most part, we need us the most here. So what is your greatest accomplishment so far with the app? And also, you can tell me about a time where you had to face a challenge that you overcome. So first, tell me, what is the accomplishment of the app?
Greatest accomplishment so far was we got nominated for a Bold Award. So the Bold Award is basically a technology organization where they highlight technology apps and people on the move. And so we got nominated within the first 3 months of us even opening, which is really, really, really special. In the tech community, the Bold Awards basically hold a lot of weight, and the awards were in Italy this year. So we weren't, with the coronavirus, we weren't able to go.
Right. It's a no.
Yeah, so we don't know if we're going to win the award or not, but we were nominated. Originally, we were nominated in 3 categories. It got slimmed down to 1. So I think we're going to win, because
that's cool.
It's out for international search. So it's not just in America. So just to have your peers in the tech community see what you're doing and it's never been done before, for them to value it, that's definitely a success. Then you said the biggest obstacle we've had?
Yeah.
So one of the biggest obstacles we've had is getting the bigger Black, I'm not going to mention names, but getting some of the bigger Black organizations on the app. So that has been, because it's a generational thing. So you're usually dealing with people who are a lot older, and why should I
not as tech savvy, and why do we need to do this now? It's been working for us this long.
Yeah. So that's been the biggest obstacle. So Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right,
so,
it was not.
Yeah.
So with that challenge, it is going to take some time, but let's just throw this out there. This has everything to do with what we're talking about, but just kind of like opinion wise, what do you think is going to take for the older generation and the younger generation to find a peace treaty, like a middle ground where we both know that we can learn from each other without millennials or people of the younger generation feeling like they know everything, and not the older people feeling like you're entitled, you don't work hard, everything that we have against each other? What do you think is going to take for us to just meet in the middle and say, look, we both want the same thing, but we do it different ways? So what do you think is going to take?
This might be unpopular, but I think it'll be more so on us to accommodate the older people and show like a level of humility. So their thing was, work a job for 20, 30 years, stay there, become vice presidents. We might have 5 different jobs in 3 years and become vice president. So it's like they don't respect us because we didn't do it exactly like they did it.
Right.
So even though it shouldn't be on the younger people, it should be on the older. That's how it is. We're gonna have to acquiesce to them until they're no longer in those positions, and then we can really do it how we want to.
Yeah, I can see that. And if you think about it, like when I'm teaching my mom something about the internet, right? And we're going over like just certain very basic things like email, copying, pasting something and dragging it somewhere. Like a MacBook is very different from any other computer. So everything is easy on a Mac because it's just accessible to everything. So she has a Mac. But when you're not used to everything going so quick, you get overwhelmed. So I find myself getting a little impatient. And so I was like, you know what? She doesn't know, and she's not doing this to me on purpose. She honestly just does not know how it works. And so when people are dealing with tech, they get frustrated, right? So I do think the older generations, this is all new to them on top of everything else that they have to deal with. So I do think what you said is not, it may not be popular. Say it again.
Yes, I said they didn't grow up with it like us. So we have we have a company who's getting ready to come on the app. And so for maybe the last 2 or 3 months, I've been talking with this guy's assistant. I'm like, yo, just sign up for that. Just log on, create a user profile on the app. And it takes like less than 5 minutes. There's like this nervousness. Oh, okay, we'll just have so-and-so do it. I'm like, okay, but she doesn't have the company card. She has a company card, but not the one that y'all need. So you have to. And so it's just like, going on the runaround because of it. What's easy to us is hard to somebody else.
Exactly.
You just have to, practice empathy, patience, be more mature, and know that this too shall pass.
This too shall pass. So it is going to take us to do all 3 of those things and more. So everyone listening out there, if you're a working millennial in a company and you're struggling with your boss because they just cannot see it your way, try to digress and understand that they're coming from a whole different generation of ideals and mindset and worth ethic. The way that they do things is just different. So it is going to take us to do that. So even if you are a small business owner, you may have customers that come from another generation that may not understand your product as well. So it's going to take you to break it down the way that they know how to understand it. So patience and prayer, because it does take a lot, and it is frustrating, I think, for both sides. It's very frustrating for both sides to try to assimilate to the way the culture is going, versus us just slowing it down and just kind of seeing it through the way that they're used to. So I don't think it's unpopular, David. I don't think you want to admit it, but I think I don't think it's unpopular.
These Zoom calls have been very interesting with some of the older people.
How has it been? They be like this close to the screen.
Don't put the mic on mute. So I was in a faculty meeting on Zoom, and it was these professors who was in a room. They was in an office together, and they was just going in. So somebody put in the chat was like, hey, FYI, some of you are saying some things that are inappropriate for the faculty meeting. You need to put your microphone on mute. But they never, they didn't know because they never had to deal with that before. So it's while the students and everybody else can get it, the older professors, like, huh, what? But we grew up on Zoom and Skype, and FaceTime, so it's nothing. But for them,
right?
It's
a lot. I get it, and I've been hearing about these faculty Zoom calls. People have been spiking their coffee for trying to get through it. So I definitely get it, and I think it's just bringing it back to GiveBlack. It's just one of those things that we do have to be patient, and like you said, Rome was not built overnight. But I think it's admirable. Like, I'm very appreciative of even knowing someone of your stature. I know that sounds like, but you are. You know what I'm saying? That's the way that I view you. I think what you're doing, what your team is doing is exactly what we need. And whatever you guys can do, everyone who is listening, who is looking at this YouTube show, who's listening to the podcast, please, all the information will be at the bottom. Just download the app, check it out. That's the first step. Download it. Shoot, give a rating of the way that it's put together. They're about to win an award, okay? A technology awards, pretty big deal. We're just breaking grounds everywhere. So I just want everybody to appreciate when someone has an idea and they actually put it into action, what it can honestly become. You said in 3 months you guys were nominated for that? Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
Yes, there's no other app like it that's solely dedicated to the Black experience of philanthropy and economic improvements. Oftentimes, we think of giving Black as just for Black people, but no, it's for everybody. So it's for the Black community, but everybody should be giving to the Black community, or just the underserved community. If you believe in helping the underserved, then regardless of your race, creed, or religion, go ahead and support the efforts that are in the Black community.
Exactly. Last question. So now I want to get personal, a little vulnerable. Is there something that you are working on that you've been struggling with? I mean, throw things out there: procrastination, consistency, whatever. Is there something that you are struggling with now that you're working on, and what is your solution? What has your solution been to basically overcome that? I'll give you a minute because I know.
Let me see. So I'm wrapping up my dissertation, so I'm waiting on my first 2 chapters.
Okay.
To get that. But I was dragging my feet on that. It's just like when I don't know, I just get this type of like anxiety when I was writing it. So that's one thing I did. Realizing it didn't have to be perfect, but I just need to keep going. So I did that. Outside of maybe work, maybe personal life, something I'm struggling with is like not doubting yourself, like understanding like mistakes. Like mistakes, everything happens. You just need to learn from them, and what can you learn from the mistakes you make so you don't make it again. So that's something I've really, really been focusing on. Is not making the same mistakes twice or 3 or 4 times.
Because that's the way that we learn. I mean, I think we're hard on ourselves because we want to get it right the first time, or at least the first 2 times. But I think at some point it's just like, okay, I didn't do it right. Okay, I missed this. Okay, my thing is paying attention to details, like being very detail oriented. Auntie Fran has taught me, sis, you can do a little bit better at details.
We both, because I'm more like big picture guy.
Yeah, and so she always brings it back full circle. It's, what is it? The pudding is in the detail. That's not what it is. What is it? What's it say?
The details.
Yeah. Whatever, it doesn't matter. All that matters.
It don't matter. Yeah, exactly.
Right. It doesn't see. That's what I'm saying. The bigger picture is pay attention to details. That's all. So thank you for sharing that. I just want everybody to understand that people who are doing amazing things still struggle with something, and they're still trying to find ways to get through it, just like everyone else is. So the only thing that separates us from each other is discipline, honestly, and consistency, and the will to get things done. Everyone has the opportunity to be great. It's just the way that you go about being great. And if you believe yourself or not, that's something that you have to work on. And I do think therapy is one of those ways to work through your stuff. When you don't necessarily want to, I guess, talk to a friend and nobody understands you, or it's very biased, like a therapist can help you through all of that. Life coach, whatever, mentor, just someone else listening and giving you direction and giving you the floor to like voice whatever you're feeling and letting it out. Especially among the Black community, mental health is a major thing in our community, and I think it needs to be more glorified because we do need it. We got some stuff that we have to deal with. Stuff. So David, thank you so much. Finally doing this. So y'all, like 4 years ago, I'm gonna say, I was like, this is when he was thinking about the app, and I was just like, David, you gotta do an interview. Like, I was just like super excited because I just started Millennials on the Move. He was like, hold on, Micah, I'll let you know when I'm ready. Not yet, but I'll let you know. So I was just like, well, we can do 2. So I was just like super excited, but I knew this moment was gonna come, and I know that this is the perfect time to do it because although me and David are not in the same city, me doing my Zoom series, this gives me an opportunity to reach back out to the people that I've been always wanting to be on my show. And look at that. I have a nominee for an award on my show for a tech company. I just have to keep throwing that out. That is absolutely amazing. So I do appreciate you for coming on Millennials on the Move and giving inspiration and sharing. Before we go, is there a quote that you live by or something that your professor told you or any of your mentors that sticks with you?
There's a few quotes I live by. One is by Marcus Garvey.
Yeah.
One of his quotes is, one is race first. So I always put race first. The second one is remove yourself as far away from ignorance as you can.
As far as you can.
Yeah, basically that's what he says. And then those will probably be, and then I use a quote by Benjamin Elijah Mays where he says it's not, essentially it's like whatever you do, make sure you do it so well that no man born, no man living, no man dead can basically compare. So whatever you do, you got to be the best at it. And that's
that's good. Thank you. So everyone, for those of you tuning in, I'm going to leave those quotes so that you can possibly take them and live by them as well, because they are amazing. They were amazing quotes to live by. So thank you so much, David. And be safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Yeah. And this will be available on Millennials on the Move YouTube channel and also Millennials on the Move podcast. All of his information personally will be on there, and for the GiveBlack app. At least just download it. That's all I'm asking. I think that's the first step to anything. Just download it, check it out, and hopefully you feel the spirit to give to any of those organizations, or connect people to these services that you know. You may not personally need this, but someone you know may need these services. So thank you again, David, founder of GiveBlack. I appreciate you so much, brother of mine. And
love you, Micah. Oh, and one other thing, also we have merchandise on our website. So coffee mugs, t-shirts, leggings, socks, pillowcases, anything. Oh yeah.
Is COVID-19 stopping any of that? Like, can we order now?
Yeah, you can order now. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm about to give some money and get the sweatpants. So thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time on Millennials on the Move.